Recently, I came across a question about formatting visual navigation, such as on a table of contents, an image with branded colors. So we are going to look at making a duotone image in Photoshop. What I have here is an image of the Museum of Modern Art in Fort Worth, Texas. This is architecture by Tadao Ando. First thing we need to do is change this to a grayscale image so that we have Duotone available to us under Image Mode, Grayscale. If you see a dialog box that says you can perform this action using the Adjustments palette, just hit OK. And then we're going to go back to Image Mode, and now we have Duotone available to us. So clicking on that, yours likely will come up in the default. If not, just hit this preset drop down at the top. And now what we are looking at is a monotone, or a one ink color only photograph. What we want to do actually is a duotone. You can also do 3 and 4 colors with the tritone and quadtone underneath. The process is the same. Starting with ink number 1 at the top, you want to use your lightest color or lightest tint. I wrote down my formulas in CMYK because that will be our final output since we are working towards print. So my lighter tint of this screen is this, 4301000. I'm going to hit OK. Photoshop is going to ask me for a name here, so I'm going to put in light green. Hit enter. Don't hit enter, just go ahead and click on ink number 2. This is going to be our darker shade of the original green. Mine is 49139519. I'm going to hit OK. And you can see what we have here looks pretty good. That green's pretty saturated, and those high light greens are pretty white still. So what I'm going to do is click on the curve for ink number 1, the light green, and I'm going to drag this high key on the left-hand side up a bit. That'll fill in our whites. Actually, I'm going to go up a little higher. I'm going to go up 2 squares. I like that. And then I'm going to click in loosely the middle of the curve. I'm going to pull down lightly towards the bottom. And that's just going to open up our light green fill across a little wider range of colors. I'm going to hit OK. Looks like I missed putting in my dark green name here. Feel free to do that at any time. And now I'm going to click on the curve for ink number 2, my dark green. And I really don't want to saturate this anymore, so I'm not going to move in the low key, but I am going to pull up the high key side just about the same as what I did for the light green color, and then again clicking loosely in the middle. But this time I'm going to go up a little towards the dark to give a little, so I can pick up the mid-tones with that darker green and really darken in the lowest values. So I can hit OK from there. This looks pretty good for what I'm going for. Next, what we want to do is go to Image Mode, CMYK, to take this back to a print color space. So clicking on CMYK, and you can see what happened when it converted to CMYK. Since we started out with an RGB image, was it kind of washed our colors out quite a bit actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix that in the Adjustments palette. If we just do a quick hue saturation adjustment, it's in the second row on the left hand side, and what I want to do is bump up the saturation to about 15, and then take my lightness to about +5. Actually, I'm going to take that saturation up quite a bit. We're going to go right here at about 20. And that looks pretty good. We can also try, if we look in the drop down where it says master and click on greens, we can selectively bring up those greens, and that seems to be bringing back that nice vivid saturation that I was looking for. Alright, so I'm going to go with that. Before we save this, we want to flatten our image. So right-clicking in the Layers palette, Flatten Image. You can also get to that through the drop-down menus by going to Layer, Flatten Image, almost all the way at the bottom. We're going to save this. This is going to be Fort Worth Modern Duo for me. Save, always save at the maximum quality when you're saving JPEGs. And then let's take a quick look at the usage that's intended for this in InDesign. So as I said, this is meant to be visual navigation for a table of contents. So what I have here is an indicator for a section and a little graphic here that's just a line segment and a circle. Alright, so with my circle selected, I'm going to go to File, Place, or Control D if you're on a PC, or Command D on a Mac. I'm going to navigate to my Duotone that I just made. I'm going to make sure that Replace Selected Item is checked. I'm going to hit Open. And that's going to drop that image into that circle and still retain my outline. Now what I can do, if I hover here over the image in the center and click on the smaller gray circle in the center of the Devil's Donut and hold, I can get a preview of all of the image that's behind here. I'm going to move it around just a little and let go, and then I'm just going to click and release on the Devil's Donut so that I get the orange bounding box of the image behind it. And I'm going to manually resize this in. And what I'm doing is just working toward the actual crop that I want to see for this image. And I'm going to say that right there looks pretty good.